All right. Thank you, everyone. This is Coach Lou with Team Infinite, and we are here for our December 15th team call. I have a very special guest with us tonight. It is legendary Josh Spencer. Josh is a star diamond. He is one of the most incredible and influential leaders in the industry. He has been a mentor to me and so many members of our team. And the guy is just an all-around great person. Josh, I am so happy to have you here tonight and just to have you speak with us for as much time as you're able to offer. And I got to say, your journey in the last year has been remarkable. And I think you've set a great example of how to still be an influential leader and how to still work the coach aspect of what we do, despite having some, personal setbacks of your own. But all that aside, I'd love to have you talk to our group and tell us a little bit about what it was like for you when you first became a coach. I know you had a little bit of a struggle. So please, by all means, I'm going to let you take it away, and I'm going to mute everybody, and we'll go from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the introduction. That was very nice and kind of you. I just want to say before I get started talking and whatnot, you guys are in just incredible hands with Lou as your leader of your team. And you guys have me. I'm way up in the upline somewhere, but you have Lou there to support you. And I'm really, when I look at the team as a whole, I'm really proud of the type of people that we bring on the team. It's not something you really see too much of around the network, but we bring on people who are like-minded like us, right? People with integrity who truly are in this business to help people and to change lives. Lou is definitely a prime example of that. So I hope you guys know how fortunate you are to have someone as supportive as Lou on your team and to leading you guys. Gosh, man, it's, like you said, it's been a hell of a journey the last year. And I'll get to some of that. I'll kind of give my little introduction. First, though, how much time do I have to talk to you?
We'll give you as much time as you like. We have a full hour, but please, as much time as you are able to spend with us it's worth its weight in gold. So,
all right. So
it's all yours.
Okay, so we'll go. We'll see how we do, and if I'm boring people and they leave and whatnot. But so oh gosh, man, my story is an interesting one. It's a long one. I'm gonna kind of cut it a little short here, but I started, well, I'm not even going to go into Beachbody yet. I went to college to be a financial planner. That was my goal. That was my dream. I wanted to eventually grow up and own my own financial planning business. So I majored in business, minored in finance, and I got a job right out of college to be a financial advisor, because I figured that would lead me exactly to where I needed to be, have the right experience, get my Series 6 and Series 7, which just has to do with stocks and bonds and all that good stuff. Just have all my series out of the way. It's interesting though, because I got involved in that business, and I quickly discovered that it really wasn't something that I enjoyed doing. And why was that? I think the company that I joined may have gave a sour taste in my mouth, because as soon as I come in, it was just hardcore sales tactic training, and it was just not me. I'm not that type of person. I'm not going to go out and I'm not going to just hard sell something. I'm not going to cold call people. I'm not going to walk into a business, and ask to speak to the owner and talk about insurance. But that's exactly what I had to do, and it was the most uncomfortable thing in the world. I became stressed out. I gained about 30 pounds in 2 months. I stopped working out. And I found P90X on TV one night while watching the infomercial. And, that was the spark of something magical. And I had no idea it was the spark of something magical. And I committed myself 100% to the program. 90 days, got in the best shape of my life. But I became passionate about health and fitness and helping people regarding health and fitness. I was online and talking on all these chat forums and messaging people on Facebook well before I was a coach. So I was getting like hundreds of emails from people asking what I was doing, because I was sharing my results everywhere, but I wasn't a coach yet. So I never really got any type of kickback from it. Barbie asked me to be a coach. Barbie's my coach, and I love her to death. And she asked me, well, shoot, man, this is right as I'm going through my first round of P90X. She asked me to be a coach, and I turned her down. I said no. I said I wasn't ready because I was dealing with a lot of stuff personally at that time, especially with my career. And eventually it got to the point where I hated my job so much that I woke up in the morning and I had this huge pit in my stomach to go to work. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Some of you guys might be doing that now, might experience that now, or might have experienced that in the past, but it's an awful feeling to just get out of bed and be like, oh my God, I got to go to work again and do something I hate doing. It's awful. So it got to a point to where, well, one, I was suspended from my pay because I couldn't reach my quota from the previous month, and that just kept compounding. So I wasn't getting paid for about 3 months. So I walked into work one day, and I just said to my boss, I said, I'm leaving. I said, I'm going on my vacation. I said, I'm not getting paid anyways, but I need to go think about my life and what I want. So I literally walked into work, told him I was leaving, and that was it, man. I went on a week-long vacation down in Myrtle Beach, and it was by myself. And the whole time, and the reason why I wanted to do that, because I wanted that time to think. Because it's so hard to take a step back and truly think about what you want and your goals and your vision and what you really want in life. And I knew I needed to get away from all the distractions and get by myself. So on the entire drive down, the entire week-long stay there, the entire drive back, I thought about my life, and I determined that I wanted to be a Beachbody coach. And I wanted to try it out. I really didn't understand what I was getting myself into. I just knew that, hey, I was already helping people. This makes sense. If I can make a little extra money, that's great, because I'm not earning anything right now. I have bills to pay. I have student loans to pay off. And it's crazy. My first year, I struggled greatly as a Beachbody coach, and I didn't have a ton of support. Barbie was a fairly new coach too. She was like an emerald coach at the time. She had no idea what she was doing. She'll admit that to you, right to your face. She's like, I had no idea. I couldn't train Josh. And Beachbody didn't really have a sound training system. We had something called the Game Plan, which came out a little bit after I signed up, maybe about a year, which was good, but it was awful. It was good because I had some sort of training system. It was awful because it was just awful training. But I think that being in that position to where I was forced to build this business from the ground up without any support is the reason why I am where I am today. Because instantly I was forced to take ownership of my business. I couldn't sit there. I couldn't rely on my upline to place people under me, because Barbie accidentally placed me on a dead leg, not an inside leg, a dead leg. So I had zero volume from Barbie. So anything that I've gotten, that I've earned, has literally been me and my coaches, which is kind of cool, when I think about it, because it's all me. It's all our team. But I was that guy who, I'm so ambitious, and I always want more. And I've always understood the importance of overcoming challenges, and that I would fail. And trust me, I failed more times than you can even imagine, especially during that first year or two into the business. And I'm still failing today. There's still a lot of things I need to improve on. So a lot of obstacles that I need to overcome. But I remember 9 months into the business, and I'm going to share this because this is such an important lesson for everybody to learn. But I remember 9 months into the business, and understand that I'm really not getting paid at this point. I'm struggling financially. I remember, busting my ass for Beachbody. And I was doing everything I could. I was doing research. I was Googling everything. I was on YouTube, finding out different ways how I could market myself, how I could share my transformation, how I could learn how to use social media, because I had no idea what I was doing. I was just out there researching and doing everything I could and talking to as many people who have been successful, not just Team Beachbody as a whole, but in business in general. I'm soaking up information. I'm a sponge. I'm learning from people who knew better than me, who knew more than me. And I remember 9 months in the business, I got a check for $6, and it was the biggest blow that I experienced at that time, because I was working so hard. I was putting in so many hours. I was up so many late nights, and I got a $6 check. And it's very interesting, because I think about this moment all the time, because there's two options. There's two choices right here. One choice, I can sit here and say, you know what? I'm going to blame Barbie. She hasn't given me anybody. I'm going to blame corporate. They haven't given me any training. Or, this just isn't cut out for me, or I don't have the time, or maybe I should be doing something else. That is one choice I can make. Or I have another choice. I can understand that this is a stepping stone to success. This failure is an obstacle that I have to learn to overcome. And it was a massive failure, because my business was decreasing at the time. So what did I do? I took a step back, and I looked at my business, and I analyzed my business, and I asked myself, why am I failing at this? What am I doing right now that is causing my business to fail? So I would go through, I'd write it down, and then once I figured out the areas that I was failing with, I went and did research, and I talked to people, and I figured out what I could do so that I didn't fail with that again. And I learned that, and I use that as such an important tool from that point on, because that's how I've treated my business. Guys, everybody fails. We all fail. You're going to fail. I promise you, you're going to fail. I failed. I've achieved a lot, but I failed probably 10,000 more times. And I'm really not kidding about that. In fact, my entire business is not made up of success. It's made up of a combination of failure. And most people can't really understand or comprehend that. They think that a lot of the times they think that it's just like a straight line to success, or there's one thing that's going to help them move towards success, but it's not. It's so many times that you fail. And the reason why I am in the position I am today and achieving so much success financially and with my team is because it's very rare for someone to quickly learn how to adjust, and then continue moving towards success. So I have just an incredible ability to just accept failure. When failure happens in my life, in my business, I don't sit back and I don't, dwell on it. I don't get pissed off at myself. I'm saying, okay, I smile and I ask myself, what can I do so I don't fail at this again? So that's a lesson in itself. It's something that you guys need to take from this point on with your business. Whenever you hit that roadblock or obstacle, you got to take a step back and ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? Or can I talk to, maybe Lou can help me with this thing that I'm struggling with, or maybe Josh can help me with this thing I'm struggling with. And then you figure out where you're going wrong, you make adjustments, and you keep moving forward, and don't make the same mistake again. I have coaches that have been in this business for 6-7 years, almost as long as I have, who are still a diamond coach because they continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over again, right? There's been so many points to where I could easily have just stopped building my business and plateaued and gotten frustrated, but I don't. I just keep moving to that next step, to that next level. I keep challenging myself. And at the same time, the reason why I'm able to do this is because I'm so involved in personal development on a daily basis. I read every single day. Something I'm doing, right now I'm actually reading The Magic of Thinking Big for like the 6th time. And I'll get to why I'm reading that here in a bit. But I'm also doing some Gary Vaynerchuk training. And by the way, he's going to be at Summit this year, which is pretty cool. I'm very excited about that. But there's some sort of personal development that I'm doing every single day because I have to keep improving myself. If I want my team to improve, I have to improve who I am as an individual. Most people don't understand that. They don't dig into personal development on a daily basis. It's the law of the lid, guys. Your team is where you are, okay? So think about that for a minute. In order for you to take your team to the next level and take your income to the next level, you yourself on a personal level have to move to the next level. How do you do that? You read personal development every single day. The first thing you got to do is get your mind right. The Magic of Thinking Big is a great start to do that. You have to be a positive thinker. You have to know how to adjust when you fail, how to accept failure, how to conquer your fears. Because guys, fear holds so many people back. Fear of the past, fear of being like their family, fear of public speaking, fear of being on video. How many of you guys won't make a video because you fear getting on video? It's very common. But yet here we are in in 2015, and this is the year of the video, right? If you want to be successful in social media marketing, you have to create videos. Why do you have to create videos? Because that's how people see the real you. They see what you're all about. They see that you're passionate. They see that you're a real person. If you're not out there and you're not actively making videos, then you're really hurting your business. And if you're not comfortable enough to make videos, you know how you do that? You know how you get over that fear? You make more videos. You have to tackle every single one of your fears head on. Okay, so you have to focus on personal development. Getting your mind right for success every single day, no exceptions. I usually do 20 pages a day. I fly through books that way, or 20 minutes of audio, or 20 minutes of watching a video or something. But that's my personal development. So, 2010, and I'm fast forwarding here because, I'm going to get to another part of my story and share this. But 2010 was an incredible year for me. But my wife and I were struggling greatly at the time. We were on government support. We had our daughter Madison. We were living in a 1-bedroom apartment. The ceiling leaked. We had to put buckets in there to catch the leaks. I can remember. I'm kind of going back and thinking about this, and it's crazy, but that was a situation we were in. My daughter slept in her only bedroom. We slept on the couch for about 2 years. I couldn't afford to pay my bills or student loans or afford the formula for our baby girl. So we had to use government support to do that. And as a father and a husband, it's an awful feeling. It's an embarrassing thing to go through. In 2010, I made a commitment to myself that I would change our situation, our family around. So I sat my wife down on the couch and I just said to her, I said, honey, I literally cannot do this anymore. I have a huge goal. I have a huge vision. I want to take our family out of this situation, and I want to create financial freedom for us so we don't have to worry about this stuff again. And I said, I can't do it, though, without your support. What is it going to take? It's going to take a lot of hours. It's going to take me up all night. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough on our relationship for a little while. But I promise you, if you can give me 1 year of sacrifice, I can give you a lifetime of freedom. I went from being, we went from being on government support in a 1-bedroom apartment to a 6-figure income in 2010, by the end of 2010. And was it hard? Absolutely. And at the same time, that was the year I won top coach, top coach 2010. It was an incredible year. It was an incredible journey, and fast forward to where we are now. Even where I was in 2010, I've grown so much as an individual. I feel like I've grown so much as a leader because that's where my personal development is right now, is on leadership, other than this kind of quick timeout to read The Magic of Thinking Big. But, we have an incredible team with incredible leaders. As you guys know, I'm proud. I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish as a team, and how we have so many people that are just truly in this business to help people and change lives. But that's my story. That's just kind of my story in a nutshell. Of course, I could have gone into a lot more detail because I've been through a lot more shit than you guys can even imagine. Some of the things, like I was bullied in school. I started drinking really bad, and that has to do with kind of baseball. I was a baseball guy, played college baseball. That was all we did, man, is just sit there and party and drink. But anyways, I overcome a lot, and I am a brand new person today. I'm not the person that I was back in 2008 when I started P90X. I'm not the person I was in 2010. I'm not the person I was last year, because I'm always constantly improving myself and I'm adjusting, so, Lou, was there anything else you wanted me to share about my story before I get into
I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask you, and then if it's okay, I'm going to ask the rest of the team if they have some questions. I think my most pressing question is, what was your first experience like at Summit? How important was Summit for you as a newer coach? And I don't know if you went to Summit before you had achieved Coach of the Year, but what would you say to this team is the value of going to Summit in your own opinion?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I did go in 2010, which was the year that I won top coach, but I wasn't top coach yet. And one of the reasons why I won top coach is because I attended that summit. I remember, so Tommy Migran is a really good friend of mine. If you guys don't know Tommy, Google him. He's an incredible guy with incredible weight loss story. Tommy and I started about the same time. We became success partners. But we were sitting there at Summit of 2010, and we were in this table on kind of like in the outskirts, way in the back. And we were sitting there and we were watching everybody get recognized for all their success in the business, and here Tommy and I are, we're, 2 years into the business at this point, and we're just kind of, I look over at Tommy and he's sitting there and he's just like, he's crying, man. He's like, he's crying. He has his head in his hands. And I knew exactly what he was feeling. I mean, we were letting down ourselves. We were letting down our family, so I told Tommy, I said, listen, man, we left that thing and we had a long discussion. And I said, I will be on that stage next year. I will be receiving that top coach belt. And then the thing is about that is that I believed it. I believed that was going to happen. And I knew that I had the work ethic in order to make it happen. And I did, I did. And Tommy definitely helped with that. But Summit is the place where, man, it's just the energy that you experience. I can't even explain it to you guys. If you've never been to Summit, it's an absolute must. I go to every single summit because it gets me pumped up. It gets my business moving again. We all go through ups and downs. I need that to keep staying motivated. I need that to meet my team. And that's another thing is you're a leader by example. If you have coaches going and you're not going, what is that showing them? Lou's going to be there. Lou's going to be at every summit because he has a team of coaches underneath of him. He knows the importance of being a leader by example. Are you taking that same approach? So I'm telling you guys, getting your coaches and you yourself getting to Summit will change your business, okay? So you have to, and plus it's in freaking Nashville. I mean, who doesn't love Nashville? It's one of the greatest cities in the world, man. The bars there, oh my gosh, they're awesome. They're so much fun. And the country music, everything is just fantastic. So got to get there.
That's awesome. I have one other question for you, Josh. It's going to shift gears for a second, but at this, given the level you are now, out of curiosity, do you find that you continue to still reach out to new people? In other words, what to you is the value for a coach, whether they're new or at the level you're at, for finding new people, for continuing to bring in that fresh blood, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, I like to call that phase one, and it's the most important part of your business, no matter what stage of the game you're in. Here I am, 8 years, I don't even know, 7.5, 8 years into the business now. And I'm still in phase one. I'm still talking to new people. I'm still recruiting customers. I'm still recruiting coaches. The moment that you stop doing that is the moment that your business stops growing. You gotta find people. You gotta go out and constantly find new people. People who are going to be motivated to build a business. And if you're not out there and recruiting, then you're really, your business is just not going to grow, So it's the most important thing. And unfortunately, you see a lot of coaches, especially when they hit diamond, they kind of just fall back, right? And they stop the recruiting. They think they can just go in and manage their team. It doesn't work like that. Sure, you can go in and be a leader to your coaches, but you also have to have a balance of being a leader and helping and mentoring your team and bringing in new people constantly.
That's a perfect answer, and I appreciate that. That's all the questions I have. I need anybody, if you're looking at this, can you raise your hand if you have a question, and I'll unmute you, and then I'm going to unmute the people that are on the phone and ask them if they have questions. Does anybody that's seeing this have a question right now? Okay, AJ, I will unmute you. Give me 1 second. Okay, AJ, you can speak, modal.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. And first, thanks, Josh, for taking time out. I know your busy schedule. I follow your story to speak with the team. I appreciate that. My big question, and actually, it comes from some of the personal development I've been doing. What was the most important thing you either started or stopped doing that made the biggest impact on your business?
That's a really good question, man. Oh my gosh, there's like multiple things that I can think of. I don't honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I can sit here and pinpoint one exact thing that was that kind of like turning point in my business that I had to stop or that I had to start. One thing, I can say this, and this is important for me to talk about, but one thing that really sticks out to me is back in 2010. It might have been even early 2011. I kind of hit a plateau. It was in 2011. I hit a plateau with my business, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. So I kind of got stuck at 3-star, and I was there for about a year. And I actually had to seek out a mentor, somebody who's been in the position, of building a very successful network marketing business. Craig Holiday, I freaking love that guy. He just texted me a little bit ago, but he was my mentor, and I reached out to him and I said, "Why is my business not moving?" And there were two things that we talked about. He said, one, because you're not a leader, and that's when someone says that to you, you kind of take it to heart, right? It's a big blow to your ego. And I understood that. And that's when I really started digging into personal development regarding leadership. Anything John Maxwell, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership is my favorite book ever. I'm so into personal development regarding leadership now, because if you want to build an amazing team, a successful, a huge income, you've got to learn how to lead people. And you might sit there and think that you're a leader, but I promise you, you're not. Because I'm sitting here and I think that I might be a 10% of a leader. I still have so much room that I need to grow. There's so many things that I need to improve on, and I understand that. I'm humble enough to realize that, and I'm going to keep improving till I get to that point to where I feel very comfortable. And even when I get to that point, I feel like there's still going to be something that I need to improve on. That's one thing, improving my leadership ability and my leadership skills through personal development regarding leadership. The other thing he said is you have to organize your time and create a strict schedule and treat it like a business. And I was kind of all over the place. And what I mean by that is I was answering phone calls when I was answering emails, and I was answering emails multiple times a day. I was so scattered. I had no system. I had no structure to my day. I was on the phone for an hour and a half with one coach, and I had to sit back and I had to really organize my entire day, break my day into certain tasks and don't let anything else take place of those tasks. For example, if I'm answering emails from 8 to 9 a.m., I can't answer my phone. I can't answer anybody that's calling. I can't answer the texts. I'm also not going to go and browse Facebook. I'm not going to answer Facebook messages. So when I'm doing something, it's strictly just that thing, and I have to stay focused on that task, and then I move on to the next thing, and I don't come back to it until the following day. So if someone emails me, I respond within 24 hours. I don't sit there and I don't email back and forth unless it's something that's very important, like I'm trying to recommend a challenge back or something, or sign up a coach. But other than that, if it's something that can wait, I always respond within 24 hours. My coaches respect that. My customers respect that as well. So that's another thing. If you really struggle with organization, Eat That Frog is an incredible book. Go out and get that. I think the author is Brian Tracy. But, so yeah, those are my two things that I did with my business that really helped me move to that next level.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have a question they'd like to ask Josh? Because I'm going to unmute. We have a couple of people on the phone. Tia, okay. Josh, do you have a few more minutes? Are we okay with time?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're
okay. Tia, it's all yours.
Hey, Josh. So how did you stay motivated to run your business when you've been dealing with all these health problems the past couple months?
I love that question because that's actually something I really wanted to talk about. It's not been easy. I can't sit here and say it's been easy, but And for those of you who don't know, for the last 7 months, I've been going through a serious health issue. I mean, for the longest time, I had no idea what was going on. I was having really bad, neck aches, stiff neck, brain fog. I couldn't think. My speech was slurred for about 3 weeks, which scared the shit out of me, to be honest with you. I couldn't do any calls. I couldn't do any videos or anything like that because I couldn't talk. So this, and the thing is, I've been dealing with this for so long, and it's such an exhausting process that about a month ago, I took a step back and I looked at how I was letting this affect my life, because I literally was consumed with dealing with nothing but this, and I was letting everything else, kind of just go wayside. And I'm going to talk about my faith here, but the reason why I really took a step back is because I went to church. I went to church, and with what I'm suffering, which, by the way, now I know is Lyme disease, there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of mood swings and stuff like that are uncontrollable. And trust me, I'm a guy that I don't normally have anxiety, right? I'm very confident. I don't fear many things, but there were things that just kept happening that I literally could not control. I woke up one evening very early on when I started all these symptoms, and I just had an extreme panic attack. And I had no idea what a panic attack even was, so I'm sitting here and freaking out, like, why is this happening to me? I couldn't figure it out, so I let this consume me, and I went to church, and just worrying about everything, and all of a sudden, I swear to you, I'm sitting in the pew, and all of a sudden, I felt this massive peace just come over me. Like I said, this was about a month ago, and I was at that point. I said, I have to get my life back on track. Whatever I'm dealing with right now, it's something I'm dealing with. I can't let it affect me. I can't let it affect my life. I can't let it affect my business. So I went and I picked up The Magic of Thinking Big again. I started reading it, and it gave me the tools and the things that I need to do to remind myself how to get back on track, with my mindset. So this book has been just tremendously helpful for me. It just reminded me that there's a lot of great things that are going on in my life right now. Yes, I'm dealing with this sickness, illness, but I have an incredible family. I have incredible friends. I have an incredible business. I have an incredible team, and I'm sitting here and I'm breathing and I'm talking and I'm teaching and I'm mentoring. I still have the ability to do that, so when I look back, I was making excuses. I was using this as a way to not build a business, and I was letting it control my life. That will never happen again. And it's not like me for that to happen either. But, so I made a decision about a month ago that I was going to change, and I'm going to get back on track, and I have, and I'm building my business. It doesn't matter how shitty I feel every single day. And there's days where I feel really bad. It doesn't matter what's going on with my health. It doesn't matter if I'm extremely dizzy, because that's been happening a lot. I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going to feel blessed to be in the position that I'm in, So I'm a big believer in not making any excuses. Whether it's time excuse, money excuse, health excuse, I don't believe in that. Okay. So when people come to me and they give me these excuses, I instantly tell them your excuse is not valid, okay? Because there's so many things that I've been through in my life. Like I told you, I was on government support, right? I couldn't afford to do the things that I did, but I found a way to do the things that I did. I found a way to invest in myself with personal development. I found a way to get to Summit. I found a way to get to every single event that I could, because I knew it was an investment in myself. I knew it was going to help me grow, and it would pay off, right? Time. There were so many times where I didn't have the time to do it, especially when I first started Beachbody. I was working 16 hours a day as a financial advisor, but I came home, I ate dinner, I worked on the business, and I worked out at 1 or 2 a.m. That was my schedule, because I wanted it that bad. So when people use time as an excuse, I just laughed at them and said, listen, guys, no, it's not. That's not a valid excuse, okay? And now with the health, we all go through things. Nobody is 100% at every time. There's gonna be something wrong. We all know that. You're gonna have health problems. You can't use your health as an excuse, unless you're to the point where you literally can't talk. And obviously, there's situations where it can be a little legitimate excuse. But it doesn't matter. Understand something. I'm going through a major thing right now. But it doesn't matter how bad this gets or what I go through. If I have the ability to help people, you better believe I'm going to go out there and help people. Okay? Because I feel that I am put on this earth to be a leader to people and to help and to teach, like I said, and to guide people and to show and to share my story. And I look at this, I'm a firm believer that God doesn't put you in a position that you can't handle. Okay? I've been so fortunate enough to grow up with an incredible family. I've been so fortunate enough to get involved in personal development at such a young age to where I can have the proper mindset to deal with something like this. I can't imagine, and I just thought about this today. I said, I can't imagine if I was a weak-minded person trying to go through what I'm going through now. I read some stories earlier because I'm doing a lot of research on Lyme's disease and how I can cure it. And there was a lot of people that committed suicide, and that's just awful. I feel like that now that I'm going through this, and like I said, I feel like God's put me through this for a reason. I can teach. I can bring awareness to this issue because it took me 8 doctors. And by the way, I had doctors tell me I was crazy, and I'm not kidding you. They literally looked at me and told me I was crazy. I spent $10,000 trying to figure this out. There's a problem here. I'm going to bring awareness to this issue. And at the same time, I'm going to give people hope that it doesn't matter if you're going through this, you can still be successful. You can still build a business. You can still do what you want to do. Sure, you're going to have to make a few changes in your life and adjust accordingly, but that's life, man. If you want to be successful in anything, a relationship, business, you have to learn how to adjust when you hit an obstacle. So it's been tough, Tia. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it hasn't, but I'm in the right mindset now. I'm building a business. I'm doing these calls again, and I'm not going to stop doing this. I'm doing team calls. If you guys didn't know this, I'm doing team calls every Thursday now at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I sit there and I share something, or I'll bring somebody else on, maybe somebody around the network who's been very successful, and I'll have them share something that's helped them take their business to another level. You know what I mean? So I'm bringing in a lot of people. They're awesome calls, but yeah, you know what? I mean, we all go through stuff. You can be that person who sits there and makes excuses as to why you can't succeed, or you can eliminate all excuses from your life and accept that things are going to happen and just keep moving forward, man. Keep being that freight train and moving along the tracks. So that's what I'm doing.
That's just awesome. I'm going to just unmute. We have 3 people that aren't on the video. I just want to ask them if they have questions. Okay, hang on for 1 second. I have unmuted the people on the phone. I think we have Rachel and we have Matt and I believe maybe Charlotte. I'm not sure. But do any of you have questions for Josh?
I do.
Is that Matt?
Yeah.
Okay. All yours, Matt.
Josh, just a quick question. What personal development books are you besides The Magic of Thinking Big, would you recommend for everybody at this point? I'm basically building a huge list. Personal development's been like a huge focus of mine, so I'm like gathering a library of books. So,
yeah,
what others?
Gosh, man, I mean, there's so many that I've read. I love anything Jim Rohn. The Art of Exceptional Living. There's so many guys. I mean, literally anything Jim Rohn.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz.
Got him.
Hold on, there's another one that I'm really Personality Plus by Florence Littauer. Anything John Maxwell, like I said, my favorite is 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. There's probably 5 John Maxwell books. Failing Forward, that's a really good one that I really recommend for you. Like I said, anything John Maxwell, anything Jim Rohn, you cannot go wrong with those guys. I love to listen. Jim Rohn, by the way, if you're gonna get something from him, get the audio. The guy will pump you up. He was he passed away, unfortunately, but he was an incredible person, incredible motivator. So actually it's funny because when I used to work out back in 2009, 2010, I wouldn't listen to music. I'd listen to personal development, and Jim Rohn is what I listened to. So.
Okay. Yeah. If you wouldn't mind, do we have a list of books from the team, that we can put on the team page?
Yeah, I actually let me bring it up. Hold on. I have a list on the Team Next Level Coaching training site. Let me.
Okay. I thought so, but I
I'm not trying to find it. I don't know exactly where it's at. There it is. All right. So it's under videos and calls. It's under personal development. The password, by the way, the website, if you guys haven't seen it, is teamnextlevelcoaching.com. The password is TNL Training 1, no spaces, all lowercase. Yeah, there you go, man. There's so much.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, those are actually videos. I have a book recommendation somewhere. It's on the team site somewhere, man. I have no idea where it's at.
No, it's cool. I'll find it.
Yeah, so it's in there somewhere. But I have a list of books where I did, and if you can't find it, just message me and I'll email it to you.
Okay, great.
Oh, that's awesome. Is anybody else on the phones have questions? Anybody that's looking right now want to raise their hand and I'll unmute you? Any other questions for Josh? Okay, it looks like we're good. Josh, I can't thank you enough for coming on this call. Paul, you have a question? I'll just unmute Paul real fast. Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Josh, thank you very much, by the way. One of the frustrating things as a new coach just trying to start out with this whole thing is that go on Facebook, you see the Team Next Level, you see Lou's page, Chris Bomber's page, and you see all you very experienced coaches by like December 10th. 16 Success Club points. And I'm struggling to get my first 2. Now, with you having such large groups, do you have customers who you encourage to go for new products, and that's why you get the Success Club points so fast? Or because I'm trying to reach out and get new people in my group. Yeah, I'm having trouble with that to begin with, and it's just like, am I going wrong here by not going back to not former customers, current customers, and trying to get them to look at other packages?
Well, just remember, I mean, a customer, you can only earn success points from them once,
Oh, okay.
So if they get a challenge pack before, and if they get a challenge pack again, you're not going to receive any success points for it. So everything that all the Success Club, and by the way, I've hit Success Club for 70 straight months, it's all new people. Every single month it's new people. It's just out there. Getting myself, and the thing is, I've done so much over the years to get myself out there. I've built such a relationship or kind of a reputation on social media to where people respect me, so they listen to my recommendations. They know what I'm all about. And so when I do recommend something, they just like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get it. It takes a while to build that reputation and to build that credibility. But at the same time, when I first started coaching, I was just out there grinding, man. I mean, I was out there finding different ways to communicate with people. I was doing a lot of research on how to communicate with people on Facebook, how to build relationships on Facebook, Twitter. I did a blog. There's so many different things. I was on multiple chat forums and sharing my story and my before and after pictures. You just kind of got to think outside the box. A lot of people, they kind of get in the routine of doing the same thing over and over again that's not working. You got to think outside the box. You're a business owner now. If you want to become a successful business owner, you have to be creative. Every single day, every single month, you have to find creative ways to separate yourself from others and to get yourself in front of other people and build a relationship with them. So I'm doing that now. I'm out here and I'm grinding again, and I'm trying to figure out different ways for me to reach out to people. I'm looking into all kinds of stuff. I'm looking into podcasts. I'm looking into marketing on Facebook with advertisements. So it's thinking outside the box and finding something that works for you.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yep.
Well, Josh, thank you again for coming on this call tonight. This has been the best 15 minutes that turned into almost an hour. And dude, I will watch your kids at Summit if I have to. I can't thank you enough for coming on this call, and the knowledge and the nuggets of wisdom that you shared with us tonight are amazing. I think you gave this whole team a real can of spunk and whip butt that just is going to help them get to the next level. Everything you said tonight was of absolute value. And sir, if you're only at the 10% level that you say you are as a Star Diamond coach, I just can't wait to see and be a part of what you're continuing to do. And this whole team is behind you in every way. So, God bless you and your family. And thank you so much for coming on this call. This means so much to everyone tonight. And, I hope that we continue to emulate the great things that you continue to do. And I'm going to end this call in a second. I just want to make one last point. Josh had posted in our Diamond Club that he is raising money for an organization that I believe helps needy families. If I'm going to post that information in Team Infinite. If any of you want to pass that along to your own teams, and we can make a real big dent in this world and make a difference for the better, let's go ahead and do that. Josh, thank you again so much for coming on tonight. You're a real brother. It's
let me talk about that real quick, because that's something that's very important to me. And this organization that I'm raising money for is my local Big Brothers Big Sisters organization. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's a program to where less fortunate kids take part of, and there's these mentors that come in and they volunteer to be a part of the program. And they support the child like they need to be supported and do their best to have a positive influence on their life. I was what we call a big to a mentor to a little boy named David. He was 8 years old, back in high school for 4 years. It changed my life, and it definitely helped change his as well. He still stays in contact with me, just graduated high school, which is crazy to think about. But, this is something that means the world to me. And I have a goal of raising $15,000 for them in the next couple of weeks. And I know I can do it because a couple of years ago I raised $12,000. I'm going to personally match that. If we raise $15,000, I will put in $15,000 of my own money. Either way, I'm probably not going to go any less than $10,000. So this is something that's very special to me, and it would mean the world to me if you guys could support in any way possible. I really, really would appreciate it. So again, 100% of the proceeds are going right to the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization of East Central Ohio, which is my local organization. And if you're a business owner, like all you guys are, it is a tax write-off. So don't forget that as well.
Excellent. Well, Josh, thank you again. We're going to end this call, and I hope everybody took notes. There will be a recording, so that's all good. Josh, thank you so much, and I'm so glad that you finally ironed out what it was that you were addressing in terms of your health issues. I wish you and Melinda the best. I know that you're expecting your third child, so kudos to you on that. And I just want to say on behalf of the team, thank you so much for coming on this evening. Everybody have a great night, and let's just take everything we learned tonight and move forward, and let's make this the year. Let's make 2016 the year. Let's really go forward. All right, guys, you all have a great night, okay?